In its 115 years of existence, the New York subway has never had a planned shutdown of the entire system. 24-hour subways were a symbol of the city that never sleeps. Until COVID. Now every night, the MTA closes up shop and deep cleans. It's not just New York. The population density of all cities makes social distancing and keeping citizens safe that much more of a challenge. Janette Sadik-Khan joins me now. She was New York City's transportation commissioner and is now a principal with Bloomberg Associates. Pleasure to have you on, Janette.
Thanks for having me, Fareed.
So, can cities adjust and adapt to this new world of social distancing?
You know, I think COVID has really shaken the foundation of society, and people feel it in almost every aspect of their lives. And it's interesting because we all want things to return to normal, but we can bring back our cities and bring them back to life without bringing back all the same fatalities, congestion, and pollution. And we've got this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get that right. So we can absolutely bring our cities back. They've come back from wars and plagues and depressions before. And I think it's really a matter of imagination and looking at what we can do to make our cities better so that they don't just recover, but that they prosper.
So imagine for us, what is it that you would like to see the new city look like?
Well, I think you're starting to see that in cities across the world. Milan, for example, Mayor Sala has set up a whole stage 2 recovery, where he's basically taking the plan that he had for 2030 and doing it in 2020. So he's created 22 miles of bike lanes and extended sidewalks and car-free zones. Because what we've seen across the world is that streets that are easier for walking and biking and transit are actually better for business and they're better for health. Because when you think of it, cars don't shop, people do.
And it seems to me that part of this plan surely will be more open spaces, because one of the things that I think in New York, there's this extraordinary blessing of having Central Park and Riverside Park, without which you wonder how people would navigate something like this. It feels like you want a city where maybe people are living closer to where they work. You don't have these long commutes. You have green spaces. You have open areas. Is that economically viable?
Absolutely. That's what makes cities great. When Mike Bloomberg was mayor, he had a whole program to increase the access that New Yorkers had to parks and green space, because it's critical in terms of the health of the city, not only the physical health of the city, but the cultural and social health of the city. And so I think we're going to see mayors and cities doubling down on the very investment strategies that worked before the pandemic. Those same strategies, making it easier to walk and bike, get to public space, are key. And that's part of the magic of cities, is actually being around one another. And, cities have always been shaped by, historic forces. And we'll have another crisis after this one. But we don't want our cities to go back to just normal. We can have them come back more resilient, more sustainable, and more equal.
So if somebody were to tell you that, what's going to happen now is people are going to flee to the suburbs again, as they did in the 1950s, or that the cities, because of digital telecommuting, it's easy for people to work at home, and therefore home can be anywhere. What is it that you think is still the pull of a city? If you actually have the technology to work somewhere else, if you have, you'd get more space. What is it that draws people or will draw people in the future?
Well, people have been predicting the decline of cities for years, that after 9/11, nobody was going to live in the city and nobody was going to live in a skyscraper and, nobody was going to fly. People are living in Lower Manhattan and people are living in skyscrapers and people are flying. It's a matter of sort of resetting the language of the street and resetting the language and protocols that we need to put in place. I mean, cities are the heartbeat of the global economy. We've got 50% of the world's population living in cities, and that number is going to get to 2/3 of the population is going to live in cities in the year 2050. And that's good, cities are good for the future of the planet because we are not going to get to where we need to in addressing climate change by having people sprawl further and further out and, having people drive everywhere they need to go. That's going in the wrong direction. And I think, what you've seen time and time again is that, cities are what societies are built on. And certainly this pandemic challenges us, but I think it also offers us a once in a lifetime opportunity to undo some of the damage from traffic and congestion and space wasted on parking, and really resetting cities without leaving people behind. And this is the moment that we can reset our streets to ensure that we're just not recovering, but we're also prospering. And the cities that make these changes now are the cities that are going to thrive.
Janette Sadik-Khan, pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much, Fareed.